prophet of doom deems it so. But I believe all that my God is real. My life to Him I humbly give. My every that God is dead, that there's no hope for a child like me in the living bread. I just won't erase from my feeble memory the fact that see me in that old familiar place. I'll be resting my weary head in a new home. If you don't hear me like you used to in the crowd, I'll be singing a brand new song. If you miss me from my daily work here on the ground, you can rest assured I know what I found. Just erase your memories of the clothes I used to don. I'll have a new one on. I'll be wearing a crown. I'll be wearing a crown. I'll be wearing a crown. I'll wear a starry crown at the end of my journey. I'll be wearing a crown. I know I've made my mistakes. Sometimes, was it in my name?
I'm the brother. How you doing? Okay, right. And this is Gwynn. Grandson coffee. Okay, well, look, why don't I just start doing a little of this right now? Okay. Why don't Chris do that? It's a handwritten deed. I tried. This I'm trying to confuse me by reading these to Joshua Gwynn. I tried to read through it, but I don't think I ever saw Joshua Gwynn's name again.
It is here. You pulled it off. These are my girls. This is Leah. This is your cousin Talbert.
All right.
And this is Ruby.
Okay.
And this is Joshua. He's the youngest of the Brown Gwynns.
All right. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where is it? Oh, look. I thought he was up there. This is Aunt Violet. This is Joseph. And this is her son Talbert.
How are you? I'm great. Good to have you.
Where'd you go? Hello. Hi.
Ain't no point in trying this great big thing. We got a new one in there.
What? Oh, that's what I did. Ruby, she's named after my mother. This is Ruby. And that's Leah. This is cousin Moses Lewis Gwynn.
Yeah.
Moses Lewis.
That's it. All the money.
Okay, these are Fletcher's, two children. This is Randy, and this is Callie, and this is Honey.
Yeah.
Honey's granddaughter, Shanika.
Pretty name. Pretty name. Nice to meet you. We don't have to cry.
That's right.
Turn it off.
You all coming up here? Oh, yeah. Definitely.
When we drove the horse and buggy. And we got up there once a year.
A family when he was having
This is Eva Ray Scott.
That's the way to
She's at the high school here. And
been there for 39 years. This is my last one.
all right. Okay. How do you spell your name now?
EVA. RAE.
R-A-D.
Gwynn.
But that's good. What do you think of West
Yeah, for 39 years.
And what do you have here? You have
That's the 1890.
where does he get these?
My grandmother. I was reading pictures. My mother died when I was born, and I was reading. She took my grandmother at 60-some years old. Took two of us. My sister was killed right on that corner.
I need something to bribe you with.
The 6th day of school.
When was that?
That was part of the school bus law. Let's see.
How old was she?
She was a year and a half older than I, and so she was 6 years old. She got killed right on that corner. Actually, it was part of the school. It was after that they made the school bus law in Baltimore County. The cars had to stop both ways.
When was this?
Okay, that was, let's see, 30, about 40.
So who's your grandmother though?
Her name was Gwynn. She was, they were the landowners of this property, Roberta and Caleb Gwynn. So my grandmother and grandfather.
Had they like inherited it from the first generation that owned it?
No.
Joshua Gwynn?
They evidently, well, that was his father, Caleb Gwynn's father, and he handed some of this down, and he bought some of it. We were looking at these deeds the other day. Bought some of it from other people. All together, it was and like 100 and some acres of land there between the family members. They tell you that Joshua Gwynn was a slave of the Perkins. He still live in this area. Let's see where the Perkins property is. So, but let me see that for a second. And he was allowed to buy his, he worked as a stonemason by night. And he was able to keep his own money, and he worked for the Burtons by day. And at 21 years of age, he bought his freedom for $1,000. And when he died, this property in Towson, property in Mount Washington, he left all of that.
And properties he owned, or just this one we're going to go look at? Oh, really? Wow. They paid $1,000, it says there, huh? How much property is that? Were you able to make any sense out of it?
At that time, I think it was like 80. That part of it was 85 acres.
And
Probably on the
1890. How many acres did you say we were talking about?
I think it's around 85 at that time.
That was $1,000 covered all that, or is that partial? I don't think you can get no 85 acres for $1,000 now.
Well, my grandmother, this land was forcibly taken, really. She didn't want to sell it, but they wanted it as part of Gunpowder State Park. And they told her they were going to start condemnation proceedings if she didn't sell it. And at that time, they gave her about as much as they were selling. It was sold for 1 acre then, $22,000 an acre.
Oh, because I've been hearing names and little scraps of history for years and years, and I'm looking forward to, I don't know, finally getting part of the puzzle put together and making a little more sense. I can't stay like this.
What about it makes, why is it important to you to be able to do that?
I mean, in the hundreds of years of history that, like I said, I've been hearing about since I was a little girl, and it's always been a mystery and curiosity to me. So, it's exciting. I mean, if anybody were to learn about the history, I'm sure they'd be as excited.
What, do you go to school or do you work? Or
Yeah,
what,
I'm a student at San Francisco State University. I'm doing my junior year, and I do work.
What are you studying at the university?
Mostly dance right now, but I'm a psychology major. But dance is my minor, so.
Psychology major, dance minor. What do you, have you written in the bits and pieces, or have you heard, or I don't know if they gave me this piece of paper here, sort of a little summary of history, and I don't know if you've seen that.
I actually probably haven't.
But it just runs down some of the history a little bit, and what interested me and made me want to come out and see if there was a story in this was that these people's lives seemed very remarkable for the time. They were hardworking, ambitious people. They could read and write, own land, very unusual. I talked to a historian this morning before I came out of Baltimore County historian. Very unusual situation here. Obviously overcoming difficulties for the times, coming out of slavery and that sort of thing, and being African American. I'm just curious how young people, young African American would look at that and see if you take inspiration from that, or is there parallels you can connect with your lives in 1996 to in the 1800s?
Well, I just suppose young and ambitious are the two major parallels. I mean, I don't have the experience of slavery to buy my freedom from. I don't know the experience of being a young pioneer, because, this country, it's not quite the same as far as being a pioneer, but I can, in my field, make that same kind of landmark, I guess, hopefully.
And why, beyond coming to the reunion, why would you come out here and hike through woods and mud and all that? What is it about the site itself that
I love being outdoors. And I don't know. My mom grew up here. Lots of stories. I don't know. And it's just, I guess, being in a physical space where my relatives and ancestors grew up, hopefully will give me a little bit more of a feel.
Right. you're like a daughter-in-law.
When we talk in the area going from here on back. And he had quite a few 3 or 4 houses on it. He had a house for his family, and his mother-in-law was there, a house for her group, you know, on and on and on. I think it was the house man that found the house. He was the house lady that found the house. And then when he bought his rent free, he just went ahead and did what he knew. Yes. Margaret Jane. Her name was Margaret Jane Roberts. That was her maiden name.
Jane. Have you been over here?
Margaret Jane, J-A-N-E, Roberts. And she had she was very instrumental in the organization of Mount Zion AME Church in Montgomery, Maryland. She was quite active. Established the cemetery in Mount Zion AME where all the gravestones are now.
Remarkable people considering the era.
On his word.
all right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. Sure? Yeah, take your time. Did you click the name? It's okay.
Sure.
You want me to go down and lift you up?
I guess our family's religion, so.
When I go the last mile of the way. When I go the last mile of the way.
Teaching me how to ride, my older brother, teaching me how to ride my bicycle, and he was supposedly holding on to a back.
Albert had a bike wreck up here.
He's going, I'm behind you, I'm behind you, I'm behind you, I got you, don't worry, keep going, you know, keep pedaling, I'm behind. Finally dawned on me that his voice was getting further and further away, and I looked back and went, I'm going to do this.
I am sure he will show me his glory. When I go the last mile of the way. When I go the last mile of the way. I surrender.
Down through there.
You did?
Little spring we used to have to get guide out of at the close of the day. When I know while my eyes begin to fly when I look at his head, I feel the master's touch when I look at him. I feel love, oh, I feel love. When I look at his head, I realized there was no
sacrifice. When I look at his face, I see him as the Son of God, the love and pride. When I look at spill upon the ground, or when I see the thorns he had for us around, or when I look at the thorn innocent to his side, my mouth will float while my eyes begin to cry when I look at his hand. I feel love at the touch when I look at his hand.
This is the bar.
Seems like it's big. That's what that is.
Oh, this is not the bar. Oh, okay. So this is something that was built more recently.
Yeah, but this is the spot. Up here is the spot.
I know. Somebody should get a picture of him. Get Joshua. Swinging on the...
Get him. You have a film. Well, where is he?
I have a picture.
Get him.
Joshua, go ahead.
Picture swinging on the thing?
You know the rocks out on the outside of the house? He was trying to scale the house to get up into the window when you were locked out. You ain't going on you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You come down to the car in the house, so you walk through the window won't open. Go ahead, man. We'll take a little swing.
Where is it?
You're standing on.
Huh?
You're standing up.
Kevin, that's an old...
We come tonight and we hope that as you observe what we have attempted to do or are doing, you might have some input for the next family. You might let your suggestions, your criticism, your observations come back to us, and everybody who desires to be a part of our planning and to make it a success. In our planning, we started the day out with a journey guided tour of the Gwynn property area. And then we have planned this banquet. That was before that we have a Gwynn family family banquet, we could sit down, break bread together, smile. You know, when we come in large numbers, always we're walking behind us. When we come tonight, we smile, look each other in the face and say, thank you. God bless you. Bless me. I'm sorry we haven't known you long. And all this sort of thing. I hope this will bond us together. Come Then we're happy because we have documented information. We touch base with people about went on before. Then we have people who just research that we might be documented, have been documented, and it comes up to us, and will become in printed form. We're happy to have photography down the house. Then tomorrow there's a picnic to wind this up. We have t-shirt, booklet, program, nameplate, table spaces, all of it done by hand of the Gwynn family. Clap on that, but oh, that man would praise the Lord for his wonderful works in his church. See, we take for granted life. I stand here as a miracle before you. Not any stuff of my own, because God is so good to me. From 92, He brought me back into this world after 3 days of isolation in another world. This is the miracle that I stand before you. Not my strength, but God's mercy and God's strength that sustains and keeps us all. So I take time to look at the road sometime and see how beautiful it is, how it works and unfolds itself for the world. Look at the leaf as it waves in the breeze and speaks to us as we sit on our verandas and read our stories. God be appreciative for this television that takes us from our living room across this world. For the things that are magnificent. The winds are all in today. We thank the Lord for that. Many things that we are blessed with. God. Only the righteous, from everlasting to everlasting. Thou art God. You've been our dwelling place in all generations. We come this day to pass on to the next generation that which you have loaned us. Continue to bless us, storehouse and baskets and good health, every reason of mind. We thank you, O God, for that men would praise your name. And we be thankful for where we are today and where we will go tomorrow, if it is by holy and righteous will. Out of one blood, God created all nations to dwell upon the face of the earth. Let's accept it. Let's walk with it. Let us appreciate it. Life is brilliant. Life is earnest. The grave is not as golden. Not spoken of itself. Not enjoyment from the sorrow. Today we come to praise your name. The way you live, who you are, every knee will have to bow to God one day. Every tongue will have to confess. We just thank you tonight that we can fellowship, that we can abide, and we thank you for family. No institution on the face of the earth is beyond the family. You don't have family, you don't have anything. Family that speaks cause, family that speaks behavior, family that speaks kindness. That's our family. Let's heal and mold us. Now there are some of us sick tonight. Can't be with us. We ask blessings, healing, and guidance. Bless this setting. May there be many more. Now the food we're about to receive is nourishment of our body. Bless us. May we receive it. May we break it in the beauty of holiness. May we just smile and eat it. May we praise God for it. Yes. That's the hand that has provided. We partake, may we keep soul and body together. And when we have finished in these banquets, may we join the great banquet in which we beyond. Where there be no separation, be no sickness, be no sorrow, but be joy. All him that lives. Christ.
I was just saying, I'm Kat Roberts, who is the daughter of Roberta Roberts, who's the daughter of Caleb Gwynn, who's the son of Joshua Gwynn. And I guess the first thing I want to say is that I have good news and bad news. The bad news is we've had a little glitch with our program, and we're going to have to mail them out to you. Everything else has worked fine. This didn't. The good news is that I have something to tell you which is different from that which you might have read in the program, because there's a short family history, or there's a short first chapter of the family history in the program. Before, though, we walk down this memory lane, I'd like to actually sort of get a sense of who's here and what branches of the family they represent. As far as I can tell, I believe of the 14 children of Joshua Gwynn, there are 9 branches of the family represented here today. And I'll get started that way. Could the relatives of Benjamin Gwynn please stand?
Benjamin.
I took an author's prerogative and I decided to work things through in the branches using Joshua's children as the branches, because all of us are descendants of Joshua. Relatives of Moses Gwynn. I should say descendants. Mary Gwynn. Mary Gwynn. Joseph. Lisa. Elijah. These aren't in any order, particular order. John. David. And Caleb.
They all went to get quickly so they could get their pictures taken.
And we're missing about 3, I guess. 3 or 4.
3 who went to put lipstick on.
I'm going to approach it a different way. When we started researching, I believe we've come up with 7 generations, beginning with Joshua as the first. And if you count Eleanor Eckley, and I'll talk about that a little bit, we've come up with 8. I know there is at least one person here representing the 2nd generation. Where's our Bob? third generation. Mother. Try again. The fourth generation, there are a bunch of us here. Five. They're getting exercise up like sixth generation. And are there any sevens here? Now, I know that we have some young people here, and is there, the people who are here who are under 10, would you stand please? I'm trying to get to the youngest person. Under 10. Okay. Under 5. Okay. Under 4. And I'm going to go in the other direction, but maybe I'll do it a little differently. Family members over 70. Make a declaration as to who is the oldest, but we don't want to, that's okay. Actually, almost 170 years ago, almost exactly today, if we could have made arrangements, we would have fortuitously hit Joshua Gwynn's birthday. He was born August 10, 1826, somewhere in Maryland. If you look at the census records, and there are copies of the 1880 census records and the 1900 census records, they indicate that he was born in Maryland to parents, both of whom came from Maryland. Because we know that Joshua Gwynn was at some point in his life a slave, we assume that at least one of his parents was a slave. At this point, we have not been able to identify his parents by name, but we're working on it. We know that Joshua was owned by the Burton family in Baltimore County, up in the area where those of us who hiked this morning hiked. If you look at the census records from the early years, there are Burtons all around where the Gwynns were. If you look at the map that's over on the table, which is from a 1915 atlas of Baltimore County, there are Burtons all over there. We believe that his father might have been Caleb Gwynn Burton, but that's something we still are working on to check. That may give us some indication of where the Gwynn surname came from. That's one of the big questions we all have had, exactly. Where does the Gwynn surname come from? At some point, relatively early in his life, Joshua bought his freedom from the Burton family. We have family tradition that he bought his freedom at the age of 21 for $1,000. He was trained as a carpenter and a stonemason, and according to oral history, how he earned his money to buy his freedom was that he would work for the Burtons during the day, and in the evening and at night he would work other jobs, and they allowed him to keep the money he earned on these other jobs, and with that money he bought his freedom. So at this point we assume that the family was living in Maryland. We don't really know anything else at this point about Joshua Edwards' mother. What we heard in one meeting is family tradition, family legend has it that she actually left the homestead and left Joshua Edward with his father, Joshua. We do know that Joshua Edward maintained close ties with his father and his father's second family, because all through the records, in 1880 he was living in a house very close to his father Joshua. He is buried in the cemetery at Mount Zion. I will add, I believe all of the children of Joshua except Benjamin are buried in the Mount Zion Cemetery, along with Joshua, Margaret Jane, and Margaret Jane's mother, Eleanor Eckley. At the age of either 41 or 42, Joshua married Margaret Jane Roberts. Their wedding, and this is something we just found out recently, their wedding was April 21st, 1868, and they were married by, Reverend John Spriggs, I believe it was. I can check that. At the time Joshua and Margaret Jane married, Margaret Jane was teaching in Putty Hill, which is an area near Cary Hall. We believe that she was the first black woman to teach school in Baltimore County. All of these things we're working on to verify. Margaret Jane herself was born October 16th in 1848 in a town whose name I cannot pronounce, in Holton County, Ontario. That's where she also received her education. She was the daughter of an Irish immigrant, Eleanor Eckley. And this is an interesting sidelight we found out by looking at the census records. Eleanor Eckley and an as yet unidentified man who was born in Baltimore, born in Maryland. So Margaret Jane was born in Canada, her mother was born in Ireland, her father was born in Maryland. At this point, we don't know how the connection was made. For a minute there, I thought it was somebody else talking, using my lines. In the 1880 census records, Margaret Jane is listed as a mulatto. Her mother from Ireland was listed as white, so we are assuming for the moment that her father was black. An interesting thing from going through the census records is in that area of Baltimore County, in that little area, there were a lot of immigrants from Ireland, England, Russia, I believe, and the area was very racially mixed. I mean, you can go from house to house and One house, it might have been a white family, the next house was a black family, and so on. Now, we don't know when Eleanor Eckley arrived in North America from Ireland. We believe that she came into Canada. However, that's one of those things that we're trying to check. We believe, though, that she came from County Tyrone in Ireland, and that she came from Ireland with a sister. And one more thing on our list to check. Now, one big question we have is why Margaret Jane's maiden name was Roberts, and her mother used as her surname Eckley. To me, the logical conclusion is that her father's name was Roberts, but that remains to be seen. Margaret Jane came from Canada in 1865 with her mother. Some of us, in talking about this, find this to be a very interesting date because of 1865 being the end of the Civil War and the emancipation. Well, the family tree just fell. I think that you can only think of Joshua and Margaret Jane as really a very dynamic couple, even by today's standards. I mean, he was a man who was born a slave, who bought his freedom at a very young age and bought a substantial amount of property in Baltimore County. Here is a woman who came from Canada as a teenager. Came down, was teaching school in Maryland, married a man here, had 13 children, and still had time to write poetry, write a play, write hymns. Some of the pieces of paper and pieces of information that people have here are copies of plays, poems, hymns that she has written. One of the things that Margaret Jane is remembered for very fondly by a number of people in this room and a number of people that we've talked to is that she founded a little group called the Pigeon Coterie, and that is the significance of your favors on your table. The thing that I can perhaps liken the Pigeon Coterie to is like the youth fellowships of today. It was a group essentially for young people. They got together, they read the Bible, they did things together, and annually at the church at Mount Zion, they had a Pigeon Coterie Day when the members of the group, who were identified by special badges, and there is actually one of them on the table over there that you can see. They did the program at the church, took over and did the whole thing. Now, in terms of buying property, we do know that by 1900, Joshua Gwynn owned his own farm and the house, and that is indicated in the 1900 census. In the 1880 census, and there are photocopies of those over there, the pages that have the family records, there is a clear indication that Joshua Edward, and Eleanor Eckley all lived in separate houses. So my assumption is that at that point he owned at least part of the property up in Baltimore County. And one thing that we have just gotten today is a copy of a deed for some of the property some of the property that Joshua Gwynn bought, which is dated 1890, so that we know that in 1890 he had bought at least some property. There is a photocopy of that deed over on the table. If you haven't looked at some of the things on the table, spend a few minutes with them, and then there are other people who have some documents that are in pretty frail condition that I'm going to ask that they just stand up and talk about them before we're done here. In the little history that will be in the program, there is a copy of a small poem that Margaret Jane wrote in memory of her son Aaron, who died at 5 days. As I said, she had 13 children, 12 births because it was one set of twins, and Aaron was one of the twins, and he died at 5 days. And that was a very special moment when we were thumbing through the book at one of the meetings, actually working on this reunion. And there, stuck in the pages of this book, was this little poem in her handwriting. And that was very special. So right up there with the day that, actually that was more special than the day I went to the archives and went down the 1880 archives, and there they were. I can say that I don't want to send you into a stupor here. But the children of Joshua and Margaret Jane were, and this actually is in order of their age. Caleb, who was born in 1870. Joseph, 1872, David Talbert, 1874, Louisa Elizabeth, 1875, Mary, it's either Ellen or Eleanor. I have seen it in different documents both ways. 1877, Moses, 1879, Martha, 1881. Margaret and Aaron were the twins, 1883. John in 1885. Benjamin in 1887. And Elijah in 1890. One thing that was very, I think, interesting to note when you look at the census records is that as early as 1880, everyone in the family of school age could read and write, from the parents down to the children. I mean, that was one of the things that they asked in taking the census. Most of the children, 11 of the 13, lived to adulthood. The only one of, and it could be 12 if you count Solomon, who died just a short time before his 21st birthday. Most of them lived into the 21st century, into the 20th century. I guess then I'll wrap it up. I'm telling you that Joshua died September 20th, 1907 at the age of 81. Margaret Jane followed on February the 1st, 1935 at the age of 86. And as I indicated, they are both buried in Mount Zion Cemetery, as well as all of their children except Benjamin. This is an ongoing project. That's what we have pretty much now. There are some additional pieces of information, but I don't really want to put everyone to sleep. And I do want to say that when you actually get the information, and I'm saying this particularly to the younger people in the group, when you get the information, it may not be wildly exciting to you now, but put it away, because I can guarantee you that in years to come, you're gonna want that information. I'm very sorry that when I was younger, I didn't sit at my grandparents' knees and learn a little bit more right from them. But we're doing the best we can. Again, I encourage you to look at the things that are over on the table. And I do know that a few people have some additional information. You know, the Cousin Moses Lewis has the book of Margaret James that we found the poem in. And if you want to see the actual copy of the poem, it is stuck in the book. The book is in very frail condition. It is interesting that that book is a dictionary for pronouncing the English language. It apparently was given, or Margaret James got it, in 1861, 4 years before she came to the United States. There are other interesting tidbits about the story that some of us sit around and wonder about. The area of Canada that they came from is an area that was at the end of one of the major routes of the Underground Railroad. Those of you who might have seen the story that was on television with Lou Gossett Jr., I can't remember the name of it right now, which dealt with a family, a prosperous black businessman in Canada who had married a white woman, and their child married a United States citizen who managed to sell the child into slavery. I'm saying this to say that person that story was about lived in roughly the same area of Canada. We still have a long way to go, but it's fun.
First of all, I want to say thank God for this occasion, and I'm so happy to be here and see all of our relatives. I just had a few things I wanted to share with you. I'm going to lay them on the table. First of all, this is a picture of Grandpa Gwynn, and it will be in the booklet that you received. It'll be up on the table, but later on you'll receive it in the booklet. And he was born August 10th, 1826, and died September 20th, 1907. Also, I don't know whose writing it is, but the old Bible, it has marriages, births, and deaths in it. I don't have all of them, can you hear me? But I have some of them, if you will bear with me. It says Baltimore County, April 21st, 1868, by Reverend John H. Spriggs, Joshua Gwynn and Margaret Jane Roberts were married. Then next it has T. James Wing and Louisa E. Wing were married August 16, 1893. Moses Wicks and Mary E. Gwynn were married November 25, 1894. David T. Gwynn and Hester A. Davidge were married November 6, 1895. Caleb W. Gwynn and L. Roberta Presbury were married June 27, 1899. Joseph Gwynn and Clara C. Copeland were married June 25, 1901. B. Wesley Davidge and Martha Caroline Gwynn were married November 25, 1903. These are marriages. Then it has births. Joshua Gwynn was born August 10, 1826. And then it has Joshua Edward Gwynn was born the 8th of November, 57. Caleb Washington Gwynn, born February 22, 1869. Solomon Gwynn, October 4, 1870. Joseph Gwynn, May the 27th, 1872. David Talbot Gwynn, March 26, 1874. Louisa Elizabeth Gwynn, November 29, 1875. Mary Eleanor Gwynn, September 5th, 1877. Moses Lewis Gwynn, June the 12th, 1879. Martha Caroline Gwynn, March the 21st, 1881. Marion Margaret Gwynn and Aaron Philip Gwynn, they were twins, June the 29th, 83. And then my dad, John Lockwis Gwynn, March 25th, 1885. Benjamin Blaine Gwynn, August 18th, 1887. Elijah Loftus Gwynn, January 26th, 1890. And then it has some of the deaths. Aaron Philip Gwynn, July 4th, 1883. I needed 5 days, wasn't it? Or something like that. Anyway, Solomon Gwynn, August the 5th, 1891. Elma Eckley, January 11th, 1890. Looks like it's either 3 or 8. And then Joshua Gwynn, September 20th, 1907. Margaret Jane Gwynn, February the 1st, 1935. And then it's got Louisa A. G. Derricks, May the 8th, 1936. And then my brother, May 31st, 1938. And of course, my father, Uncle David Talbot Gwynn, December 23rd, 1939. And then my father, John A. Gwynn, John Lockwis Gwynn, February the 22nd, 1994. I'm going to lay this over there on the table. I don't know whose handwriting it is, but you're welcome to share it. Also, this is some of the printing by Reverend Joseph Gwynn, Miriam's father, that he did on some of Grandma Gwynn's poems and songs. And this says Sunset and Goodbye All. And it was published and sold by the Gwynn Printers, 914 Eden Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 1934. And he sold for 20 cents. And then also, in here it's got this poem, this song, Sunset, and also Goodbye All. And then some of her subjects, I'm No Angel, Man with a Gun, The Man Kidnapped, and Lazy Bones. These are some of her subjects, and he sold them for 5 cents each. This is a copy of Grandma Gwynn's funeral, which was February the 5th. She died February 1st. Funeral was February 5th, 1935. 12 noon. Reverend J.E. Lee was a pastor of a church in Long Green, Maryland, and it was handled by Miss Frances Hemsley and Mr. Irvin Chapman. The funeral was. I'm going to lay this over there. And then one last thing I'd like to share with you. Several of us went on the hike today up to the home place, and we were trying to establish the exact location of the home place and the barn in the area, and we found a cinder block structure, but in those days they didn't have cinder blocks. But anyway, I have a picture here of my mom and dad on a horse, and in the background is the barn, and between them is an old sleigh that they used to ride in the snow. Now I dropped this and cracked the glass. But anyway, I'm going to lay all this over there that you may look at it as you go at it. And this is my mom and dad used to ride horses, and I think the next to Grandpa Gwynn's farm was Mr. Elmer Hale, the lawyers from Patterson. And they were all friendly. My father used to say he used to talk over the fence to them, and it was great history. That house was constructed for the benefit of those who are not aware. It was a stone house, and the windowsill, I can recall, was so wide one could sit in the windowsill. That was a house, that was, and there was a lot of history in that place. So I'm going to lay these over there. And then before I sit down, there's one thing else I would like to share with you. My sister Rose and Amy Camerta and my brother John August Gwynn Jr. He died May the 30th, 1938. He was born May the 8th, 1916. And anyway, he was also one of the family members. But there's one person in this room that I have incorporated in the family, and I know she doesn't mind it. And I'm just so proud of her. I love her to death. I lived at McDonald's School, and I went to school over in Green Spring Valley. And in September of 1935, my mother said, it's time for the plane to stop, time to go to school. So she took me over to a little place called Chatteraney, which is in Green Spring Valley. From there I went to from the first to the 7th grade. But there's a person here that I really love. She taught me in the 1st grade, 1935, and she's here today. She has taught students, she has taught their children and their children. And Lord has blessed her. It just thrills my heart to see her. And I love her. And I want her to please stand. Miss Catherine Smith, ma'am.
Thank you, Brother Doris T. Gwynn. And thank you for bringing that information to us tonight. Program is complete. At this time, now we come to the fun part. We're going to have our family presentations, and we have the first group are 4 lovely people. We're having Ruby, Kelly, Leah, and Josh, who are coming forward to do a poem for us. Let us welcome them.
Hello, family. Hello. I'm Cousin Leah. Sure. It's called Free to Be a Family, and the words are by Sarah Durkee. Originally it's a song, but we kind of made it into a poem. We're not singing it. We are the non-musical side of the family. We're all branches of the same family tree, but every family's different, don't you know? Reaching for the sun comes very naturally. We only have to let each other grow. I've got a home, I've found my place. I live with people who are glad to see my face. We're free to be, you and me, we're free to be a family.
We're all working in the same marching band, but drums and horns have a different thing to say. All together, we'll ring music through the land. We've only got to let each other play. I've got a place, I found my home. I'm only solo and I want to be alone.
So many groups in a family suit, so many combinations. Might be people who look like you, or they might be no relation. Birds of a feather, they flock together. Yes, sometimes they do. But if a little bird joins an elephant herd, hey, that's family too.
We're all cooking up the same barbecue. We like spicy, you like sweet. Maybe we can trade recipes and help each other eat. This is my home, these are my folks. These are our secrets, our habits, our jokes.
We're free to be, you and me, we're free to be a family.
All right.
Think you know whenever land you'll have no
sat on a pair of white marble steps on Fulton Avenue. This little girl sat there with firm directions not to move, as she gazed upon the movement of people in the neighborhood. Like all children, she dreamed. She dreamed dreams about what she wanted to be when she grew up. She wanted to be maybe a nurse like her grandmother, or maybe a teacher like her cousins, or a principal like her godmother. Her vision was limited to the careers of family members or those she saw from those white marble steps. But she still dreamed dreams. As she entered the newly integrated school in Baltimore City, her dreams began to be tarnished by what the high school counselors said. They told her she could not, or what they told her what she could become. Oh, you can get a job and go work in a bank. You're not really college material. That little girl, as hurt as she was inside, was still college bound in her heart. Family wisdom and influences said, you can be anything you want to be if you put your heart and mind into it. Yes, you can. Bound with that strong Gwynn will and determination, that little girl matriculated into higher education and pursued a glowing career in both education and industry. This same little girl now stands before you with the wisdom and strength of her forebears, and many years of business and industry experience, and a commitment to pass on to the future generations that yes, I can attitude. This can only be granted by having a strong educational foundation. All of us in the room know that the commitment to higher ed is something the Gwynn family has been very proud of. Unless we invest in our future, our past remains just history, and the Gwynn legacy will die. Today, I challenge you to join me in establishing the Gwynn Family Educational Foundation. I'm going to need some help here. Dedicated to promoting to academic excellence to a deserving student in our family each year at this time. I present to you a trophy that we had set today for this occasion. And along with that trophy, I will give the first $200 to establish a Gwynn Educational Foundation for our youth.
What a joy that will be when my work on earth is done.
And the son of a slave made his life count. While others may have thought he was nobody, he knew he was somebody. He lived in changing and uncertain times, just as we do. But that did not stop him from growing and maturing and making an impact that has become our foundation more than 100 years later. In the words of his stately wife, Margaret Jane Roberts Gwynn, he saw more good than bad. Life dealt Joshua Gwynn many cards that were bad. He was an African away from his African homeland. He was disenfranchised. He was poor and relegated to the inhuman institution of slavery. Despite all of this, he saw more good than bad. His body was in slavery. But I want you to know tonight that his mind was free. He was not afraid of the challenges and hardships and responsibilities that necessarily accompany liberty and freedom. You see, slavery or liberty requires a great deal of responsibility. When a man is a slave, he doesn't have to do much planning. All he has to do is pick cotton. When a man is a slave, he doesn't have to do any budgeting. All he has to do is pick cotton. When a man is a slave, he doesn't have to pay rent or be responsible for the mortgage. All he has to do is pick cotton. And because of the ease and the lack of risk, many slaves wanted to stay slaves even after they were able to be free. Joshua Gwynn, however, was well focused on the ultimate downfall and problem with slavery, and that is that you no longer can choose your destiny. A slave cannot decide what he is going to be or how his life will be spent. For a cotton picker is a cotton picker, was a cotton picker, and will always be a cotton picker. The slave has no choice. Slavery, I'm afraid, is still alive today. While it is illegal to slave our bodies, only we ourselves personally can enforce the Emancipation Proclamation over our minds. We must remember that to the extent others assume our responsibilities, we are still slaves. Joshua Gwynn could see more good than bad because he knew good when he saw it. He knew how to tell the difference between good and between bad. When he saw hard work, we call it bad, but he called it good. When he saw responsibility, we call it bad, but he called it good. When he saw industry and ambition, we call it arrogance sometimes, but he called it good. I understand that everybody in Joshua Gwynn's house had to work hard. I understand that if the sun got up before you did, you were in trouble if you lived in Joshua Gwynn's house. Submission and obedience, we call it bad, but he called it good. When it came to the business of submission, he appreciated being in submission and had the utmost respect for authority. Laying in bed half the day, and that means until about 8 a.m. in his words, we call it good, but he called it bad. Begging rather than working and sacrificing, saving and self-denying, we call it good, but he called it bad. The principles that work for Joshua, I'm afraid, will still work for us today. With these principles, Joshua Gwynn fought his freedom. With these principles, Joshua Gwynn acquired his own plantation. You see, he lived on other folks' plantation, but he didn't live there with his eyes closed. He lived there with his eyes open, and the moment he was able to get free, he started his own plantation. With these principles, he owned not just a house, but houses. With these principles, he had many farm animals and other assets. With these principles, he had all of the barns and buildings and equipment that were necessary in order to conduct the the business of farming. I want to share with you tonight that during the time of Joshua Gwynn, there were no equal rights amendments. I want to remind you tonight that during the time of Joshua Gwynn, there were no affirmative action programs. I want you to know tonight that Joshua Gwynn never once received a Small Business Administration equal opportunity loan. And I say this tonight because somehow or another we have come to a time when we believe that we can't make it without these things. And I am not against these things because everything that we have is an asset and everything that we can get is good. But I want you to understand tonight that we cannot let our destiny be reliant upon having programs or not having programs. Joshua Gwynn never had any programs. You don't need equal right amendments in order to have a free mind. You don't need affirmative action programs in order to be successful. If they come, that's fine. That's icing on the cake. But if they don't, it ought not make you so you can't get anywhere or you can't do anything. And then Margaret Jane Roberts Gwynn, the stately scholar, teacher, musician, poet, a woman who was far ahead of her time, the kind of woman who would be the companion of a man who was a legend of his own right in his own time. She was highly intelligent and highly motivated. Her music and poems were enjoyed by many. She seemed to be the spiritual force in the family, as her determination and fervor not only influenced her immediate family, but her extended family and many of those with whom they came in contact. Instilling positive principles into young people seemed to be the source of her joy. The Pigeon Coterie, the group of young people eager to be fed with the wisdom and knowledge of Margaret Jane, memorizing verses of the Bible and receiving grandma's handmade corsages and bouquets, did no less than thrill the hearts of those malleable minds she joyfully molded. In closing tonight, I shall in some inadequate way communicate the legacy that Joshua and Margaret Jane Gwynn have left us. Let us not, however, make the mistake. They wanted us to do more. They wanted us to be even better. They wanted us to rise even higher. They wanted us to be richer. They wanted us to be more spiritual. And by all means, they wanted us to be free. From them, we learned, among other things, how to set good goals. Do things that will be a blessing to others and not just things that just make money. Break the goals down into simple and reasonable steps. As the Apostle Paul says in the 12th chapter of Hebrews, make level paths for your feet. And then I believe tonight with all my heart that they would want us to be hard workers. You see, it is a paycheck that pays the bills, but it's a work that builds our character and makes men and women out of us. Solomon over in Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 13 said, if a man is lazy, the rafters sag and the house leaks. I believe tonight with all my heart that Joshua and Margaret Jane Gwynn would want us to be people who were frugal and budgeted and saved our money. Because one day opportunity will open its door to you. But you must be ready. You never know when an opportunity is going to come. And opportunity is much like the proverbial person with hair in the front and none in the back. And that is that you have to get a hold of it while it's coming. Because after it's gone, there's nothing to grab a hold of. I believe tonight that Joshua and Margaret Jane Gwynn would have us to give the taking care of our families a high priority. I believe they would want to instill in our children character. I believe they would want us to instill in our children godly principles. I believe they would want to instill in our children discipline and the capacity for self-denial and sacrifice. And lastly, I believe that they would want us to have compassion for the less fortunate. You know, in the context of our current events, I believe when it came to himself, Joshua Gwynn was a Republican. But I believe when it came to others, he was a Democrat. I think tonight, in the words of the Proverbs, when you deal with yourself, use your mind. And when you're dealing with others, use your heart. Bad sells newspapers, but there's more good than bad. Bad raises TV ratings, but there's more good than bad. Bad is remembered while good is long forgotten, but there's still more good than bad. My relatives, my friends, those that we've learned to love and to know, I want you to know tonight in no uncertain terms, no matter what is happening or what's going on and what the trials are, there's still more good than bad. And I believe that if you work hard and set good goals, I believe with all of my heart that if you work, it'll work. And I believe tonight that no matter what happens, if we remember the words of Margaret Jane Gwynn, life will be a little richer because there's always more good than bad. God bless you. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Congratulations, Gwynn family. This was a success. We've got to do it again.
That's what makes it happen. Yes, indeed.
Anthony.
I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Sorry. There you go. All right.
Now, here we go. To start this show, we have some stuff. Let's give four people now. Who likes red? Who likes red? Oh, you like red? Who likes white? Who likes... Oh, you got a hamburger in your hand. Who likes blue? Oh, you like blue? There you go. Oh, who likes pink? You got pink one. Here you go. Okay, now, Here we go. When I say your color, stand up. Put the silk into the pan and say a magic word. Okay, let's see. Red. What's the magic word? Please. Everybody say please. Please. Okay. Pink. Okay, pretty pink. What's the magic word? 5, 4, 3 is like Jeopardy.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody say thank you.
Thank you.
White. Okay, come on. Whoa, what's the magic word? Now. Now. Everybody say now. Okay, and what's the last color? Who has the last color? Oh, what's your color? Blue. Come on up here. Here we go. Say a magic word. Abracadabra. Everybody say abracadabra. Abracadabra. Okay, everybody. We have the colors. And now, it's time for the magic. Everybody say magic, magic land. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Magic, magic land.
I didn't hear any of these beautiful adults saying it. Everybody say magic, magic land.
Magic, magic land.
Hey, you see that? You see that just flying there? Nobody saw it? You saw it, didn't you? What is it? Am I going crazy? I'm going crazy, y'all. I know I'm going crazy. Oh, everybody, do you all know what this is, everybody? It's a dove. Everybody say hi, Snookums.
Hi, Snookums.
It's a delight to have the Gwynn family here, and I hope they are all enjoying all of the efforts we put forward to make it pleasant for them. Thank you.
What can I say? We're almost at the end, and it's been great.
I'm Lori Poindexter. We're just enjoying the weekend, and we're really glad to be here. We hope that we get to do this a lot more. We live in Landover, Maryland, and most of our family is here right now, but we really enjoyed ourselves, and we hope to see everybody. We're glad to meet our family, and we hope to do it again soon. And then my husband will talk about it.
Ditto. Whatever she said. She's the boss. Can't stand her sometimes. She's the boss.
Sure. No, well, it's my first time meeting everyone at once, and I find them to be, Gwynn's are a great family. They seem close, and they're eager to learn about the past. This is my
Yeah, I think we found out a lot about the past that I didn't know before, and I think we need to find out some more, but I thought it was all very interesting. And I don't know what else to say.
My name is Carly.
Okay, action, ready?
Really glad to be here. My goodness. I'm having a great time. Can't wait to do it again next year or whenever we have the next one.
I'm sorry. I think this has been a wonderful experience. We've had a wonderful time. I'm having a lot of fun being here. I hope to do it again soon.
It's more good than bad.